Good morning. I am Kevin Price. Glad to be with you. Going to spend some time talking to you about you and your business. Had a great trip to D.C. For CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference. Got to cover a lot of stories. Interviewed Steve Forbes. A lot of great interviews, in fact. I'll be talking about that more later on in the show. But thanks to guys like Bill Napick and William Edmondson for stepping in while I was gone last week. And really glad to be here today for Michael Racher to be on the program. He does such a phenomenal job being on our show, and I love your company, Corporate Memory Solutions. Kind of give us the elevator speech on that first, and then let's introduce your guest today, who's a good friend of the show already. Go right ahead.
I know, he's already been here. He's well-loved. Well, Corporate Memory Solutions is that organization that helps every company understand who does what, how, why, and what tools are available to make their team successful. And that's what we want with our teams. We want them to be successful. If our people aren't successful, we can't grow as a business owner. So that's what we're looking to do.
Yeah, and you've got that down to an art form, the way you present that, and it's a phenomenal. I think you guys are probably at least a decade ahead of the curve, and so people need to know about this. You know, the biggest expense, the most important value to people or to companies is time. Time is the most important thing, and you're one of the few tools out there that make sure that time is maximized.
Yeah, we are. We try to do it, and it's fun to get companies to understand it, and time is money, and money's time. So we want to be able to get them to understand that.
Got a great guest today. I was very delighted to see him out in the lobby. He's a friend of the show, and why don't you introduce him?
Well, I got my good friend Alex Howard from SRR. Alex, how you doing today?
Just fine, Mike. Thanks.
Well, kind of give us the elevator speech. Tell us what SRR is all about.
Great. Well, SRR is a global financial services firm that specializes in investment banking, valuation, and financial opinions, and dispute advisory and forensic services. We have 11 offices around the country and international relationships.
Very good. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, Alex, when you and I met, one of the things that we always talked about was business and valuation, especially for that small to medium-sized business. Why is it so important for a business owner to understand the value of his company?
Well, if you start with the fact that for most business owners, it could be 70, 80, 90% of their net worth is derived from their business. That's where all of their net worth is. And yet it's an asset that most business owners have no idea about. I've been doing this for, I'm going to age myself, about 45 years. But in all that time, I have never met a business owner that overstated the value of his business. Every business owner thinks their business is special, unique, and in some case, and it is to them. But from a valuation perspective, they don't know what it's worth. This has a bunch of very significant implications, not just things like estate taxes, but for a liquidity event, for living a lifestyle that people have worked very hard for. If you go around thinking your company's worth $10 million and you go to sell it and it's worth $5 million, this has an enormous impact. And it'll happen to you without your having planned properly. There are ways, as Mike knows, Mike and I, my relationship really goes to some of the things that he's doing that help enhance the value of companies. And consequently, people have their largest asset. They don't know what it's worth. They planned their retirement on it. And sometimes by the time they think about it, it's already too late to do anything about it.
Well, if you were going to give a couple tips on increasing the value of a company, what do you think are 2 or 3 things that every business owner should look at?
Well, for a start, and Mike and I have talked a lot about succession planning in the past, value can be influenced by a number of different things depending on the industry. And one of the things that comes along with evaluation of the company is a peer review and a better understanding of the industry from a valuation perspective. And I'll give you an example. Often we'll value a company and we'll discover during the process of looking at a peer review that their margins are much lower than their competitors. Well, there are ways to fix margins, either raising prices, reducing costs, rethinking what you're doing. If you don't even know what the metrics in your business are, you can't address the issues of increasing the value. And as a consequence, all of this comes along with looking at the value of your company.
Yeah, that's interesting. Let me ask you then, and what's interesting, on the one hand, I see exactly what you're saying. There's all this emotional attachment about the value of the company. But on the other hand, it's almost like there's a state of denial among business owners of not even wanting to find out what the real value is, or they do crazy things. I've seen businesses try to get a real estate agent to sell their company. A real estate agent has no idea what cash flow looks like, and that's really the value of a business, isn't it?
Absolutely. All valuation is based on cash flow. And as a consequence, it's important to get an expert when you're looking to sell your company or have it valued. You can't just have anybody do it. They have to be familiar with the marketplace. They have to understand your company in depth. So it's not necessarily the case where the cheapest is the best. I think this is a very important asset to people, and they ought to treat it like that.
Yeah, very true.
So, I'm sorry, Mike, go ahead.
So one of the things that that my company pushes in is process and duplication and understanding. When you go with succession planning, especially you got these family-owned businesses, everything's in Dad's head. How important is it getting that information out of Dad's head into a usable form that if we want to sell that company, because the kids may not want to stay around?
I think it's absolutely vital. It's necessary, but a lot of times people keep things, especially in private companies, they micromanage. You see this constantly. And you're right. They know what's going on, or they think they know what's going on. They don't share it with their own family. They don't always share it with other people in the company that could represent potential successors. And one of the reasons I think so highly, and why I think what Mike's doing at Corporate Memory Solutions is so important, is that you're much more easily able to replace any person if you know exactly what they do. It's not unusual to find a significant cost of onboarding because people just don't know what the person they're replacing did.
Mm-hmm. It almost seems like what Mike does would be like the perfect thing for your company to recommend clients of yours to incorporate. Because something like what Mike does instantly increases the value of that company.
I think it's absolutely true, and I do recommend what he's doing to my clients. And, we like to do something at our company as well, because I think it's really important to understand. And the bigger you get, the more of a significant issue I think this is. It's not just something for very small companies. It's something that every company can benefit from, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, it's a way a small company can become a medium-sized one and a medium one and enterprise one. And so I absolutely. Alex Howard, he's with SRR. That's SRR.com. And Michael Rager, he is there at CorporateMemorySolutions.com. Wrap it up for us, buddy. About a minute left.
Well, it's just we're coming into the end of the first quarter here. And, people, they want to get them to start planning on what they're doing. And, I'm going to point myself. If you don't understand what you do and you can't push it on, we want to be having that ability to grow. Things here in Houston, the oil and gas are slowing down, but other areas are pushing forward. And, we want you business owners to be the leaders of what's going on. If we can help you be the leaders, let us know. We want to come in and help you to increase the price of your business. Isn't that what this is all about, Kevin?
Absolutely. Thanks so much. When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. Also, make sure you check out our national TV show on the Biz TV network. Stay tuned for more right after this.